Hi there, this is Pastor Stu coming to you, as you can see today, from outer space. I wanted to give you a prelude to the new sermon series that we're going to start this Sunday. It's called In the Beginning. We're going to look thematically at the first 3 chapters of Genesis, perhaps a few other passages also, to think about some really basic things about Christian worldview and worldview in general. And so I wanted to get you thinking about that, maybe even talking about that, asking questions of friends about that as we prepare for the series. It isn't going to be a verse by verse kind of thing, but more of a theological investigation of some really basic worldview questions and looking at some of the key issues that come to us in those first 3 chapters of the Bible. If you get the first 3 chapters of the Bible wrong, you will get it all wrong. And so in preparing for that, think about these questions, and they're basic worldview questions. And even if you're bold enough and you're talking with somebody, ask them what they think. What are their answers? These questions certainly aren't new with me. I heard them first from Jerem Bars. I assume Jerem may have heard them at some point from Francis Schaeffer. They're kind of a paraphrase of some really basic issues of worldview. So this is absolutely nothing new or original with me, but it's helpful. And it's very simple. And I think you'll find it to be a very simple way to engage people to think about something they don't think about that often, their worldview. 4 questions of a worldview that we'll touch upon. Number 1, who am I? It's as simple as that. And people may answer it in a variety of ways. But I think as we come to these first 3 chapters of Genesis, especially the first 2, we'll find some very important foundational things about who we are and what makes us different from the rest of creation. Second question, where did I come from? And of course, Genesis is all about beginnings. And so how we understand those beginnings will influence everything else, and the way we think about life, the way we think about ourselves. Number 2, where did I come from? The third question, this is where it gets really interesting. And if you ask people this question, you'll have no shortage of input. What's wrong with the world? What's wrong with the world? Be prepared. If you ask that of people, you may get a very long conversation about all kinds of things that are wrong with the world. And it's a great question to get a discussion going. Then the last question, the 4th question, then, based on what you think is wrong with the world, then how could we fix it? How can we fix the things that are broken? And that also, those 2 things just lead one right into the other. And we're going to find out in the first 3 chapters of Genesis that all of these questions are answered. And if you answer them the way the Bible answers them, then you're going to have what we call a biblical worldview. And it's going to shape the way you think about everything. And if you answer them a different way, you're going to have a different kind of worldview. And it's going to change the way you think about life, whether it's, again, the difficult challenges of COVID-19, or whether it's just the daily questions that we think about. Who am I? Where did I come from? What's wrong with the world? How can we fix it? I think about those things. And we'll begin a series through Genesis 1 to 3 in the beginning this Sunday. We'll see you soon.